Hi there, this is Billy Earl, and this is Eastern Shore Politics. From District 38B here in beautiful downtown Barrie, we have Carl Anderton, who is our representative to the House of Delegates in the state of Maryland. Carl, thank you so much for coming by.
Absolutely.
I know you're busy. You're a busy guy, but thank you for coming by.
No, absolutely, yeah.
We're living in very interesting times politically. What drew you into politics? Tell me the story.
Honestly, I don't know. There was no, I didn't go to school to be a politician or political science or any of that kind of mumbo jumbo. I mean, I don't think it's about that kind of stuff. I think, honestly, it's got to be in your heart. For me, the whole thing, I guess we'll start here and go back. The whole thing comes down to, I want you, honestly, brother, to have the life you want, the quality of life that you feel you deserve, and whatever it takes to make that happen, whether it be a high-paying job, or whether it be access to
for me, it's just hair.
You need.
That's all.
Well, we're still struggling on that end.
Yeah.
I know a good guy that makes great wigs.
Is it going to look like a muskrat's gone to sleep on my head?
Potentially, yes.
Okay.
Potentially, yes. If you like tails down the back,
avoid
we can
that.
definitely do that.
Try to avoid that.
My brother, he does shoot squirrels, so we can hook you up. So it's kind of, that's the whole point. It's for me, it's not about this pontificating or whatever. It's what can I do to make sure that you're doing what you want to do. You're my boss. You're my boss. I work for you. So it's what you want. It's not what I want. So when
I feel so much better.
So when when we're sitting in Annapolis, and bills come up, people are saying, well, I like this or I don't like that, and I said, well, it doesn't really matter what you like. It's the people that sent you there, and so it's.
Do you think there's not enough focus by the political class on exactly the perspective that you're talking about, of being a servant and being there to help the larger picture?
I mean, I'd like to think so, but I mean, for me, I ain't nobody. I'm just a guy who had his neighbors say, "Here, take a shot."
Okay.
And so we went, with a certain goal in mind that we were going to restore monies that had been cut under the previous administration.
Right.
And we've done that. Highway user revenues. That's our share of the gas tax that goes to local roads.
Right.
So it took 4 years literally to get that bill done, and we got it done this year. We restored monies that were cut, disparity grant funding. That's a fund that goes to counties that are struggling economically, and Wycomico County is definitely one of those.
Yeah, it is.
And so, we were able to put that money back in place. And, the first bill we did was for Evolution Craft Brewing.
Gotcha.
So they could double in size. Wycomico County now is technically the brewery capital of the state, because we can brew for Class 7 breweries. That's a brewery with a restaurant on site like Tall Tales or Evo. They can brew more beer than any other county in the state. And that was the first thing we did.
I had no idea.
While I was running for office, the guys at Evo said, hey, we're struggling here. We're about to max our cap, and we're going to have to close the restaurant to expand and lay off 70 people. And so we took the bill, and at first, like with anything, they're like, get out of here with that. It's not going to work. But we end up working our way through. And so instead of them closing the restaurant, laying off, dozens of people, the restaurant's open. They're going to expand and hire dozens of people. But as for getting into this, I don't know, man. I was raised in church. My family was always looking out for other people. My dad's always the guy that when somebody's broke down, he pulls over, to help them out. My parents let a guy who was homeless stay in our garage when I was a kid because they had nowhere to go. And so I just kind of saw the heart that my mom and dad have, for others, and started with my grandparents. And so I just kind of always felt that maybe, to be able to be in a position to help somebody else.
Yeah.
And, I got married right out of high school. So, so I didn't go to college or anything like that. I worked, I was a grave digger.
Okay.
I can't, I sit here as I talk to you now, I'm trying to think of things that I didn't do as for employment. And there's not many. I wasn't a scientist. I wasn't a teacher, but pretty much anything else, we did it. I worked on the radio for a while as an on-air personality, which is probably one of the funnest jobs I had.
Oh yeah, of course it would be.
And so we did all these things. So my wife has 2 degrees from this university.
Okay.
I actually asked her to marry me right outside the door here, right down the street. And it wasn't really an ask. It was. She said her mother...
A persuasive suggestion?
Well, she said her mother didn't want her to see me anymore because I was a bad influence.
I've heard that.
Yeah, so, my first inclination was, well, it was 3 months, that was cool, But then something in my head said, I'd say something. So I said, hey, I got an idea. I said, if we go get married, she can't break us up. And she went and paid for the marriage license. The record shows that. I didn't buy it.
Solution oriented.
Right. You got it. And so, it's been, for me, it's been pretty easy. I'm sure for her, it probably has been very difficult because she's basically had to raise me and 2 kids. I'm absolutely
that was funny.
A late bloomer when it comes to maturing. So it's been a long, interesting journey. It's been a fun ride, but I have my roots here go very deep.
Yeah.
Actually, on both ends of the spectrum, coming in from Lewis, 1623 from the Netherlands, and then through Jamestown settlement. Shortly thereafter, I actually found out that I'm the second elected official in my family. I'm actually related, descend from a Burgess of the Jamestown settlement.
Okay.
So every 400 years we get one. So, so sorry to those who come after me, but
gonna have to move that schedule up a little bit.
So, on my paternal side, my family they were all watermen, oystermen.
Mm-hmm.
When I went through the census records, doing the genealogical thing, and seeing how they worked their way up the peninsula, and they worked their way down, and part met in Delmar and part met in. Ended up in Chrisfield.
Right.
And now they're in, between Delmar, Salisbury, Snow Hill, and Chrisfield, we're just kind of all over the 3 lower counties. And, so it's.
That's a great living. Boys, it's tough.
Yeah.
That's a tough business.
So, then my great-grandfather broke the trend and became a Marine, had his own marine transportation business, had 7 tugboats. Went up and down the Chesapeake Bay and hauling gravel out of here, or from Havre de Grace down to here, and then sand back up and just back and forth. And then he sold those businesses off in the 90s, and then became invested in properties for a time here in the city center downtown.
Okay.
And for 2 years, I had an office there, just kind of as a little bit of a hat tip, to where I came from, and. Just learning about my grandparents and their impact, and seeing as I'm knocking on doors and people are telling me stories from 20 years ago that he helped with this, or my grandmother was involved in church with this, and just all these different pieces just really makes me understand that it's just good being from here. I'm just very blessed, and I'm very lucky to be able to say that I can call this place home for,
I get it.
20 generations. But, so getting into politics wasn't never a goal of mine. When we moved to Delmar, I went to a council meeting in 2003, and I was sitting in a meeting, and somebody was wanting to do something, and the council was, they were kind of like, well, we're not really interested. We've always done things this way. And so I just thought it was kind of odd that they wouldn't hear something new. And so
right.
2 years later, I ran for a council seat. And first door I ever knocked on, I still remember the door. I remember the lady. I knocked on the door, and I froze. And, I had on a brown paisley shirt with a pair of jeans and brown leather shoes. I still have the outfit.
Okay.
And she said, well, what do you want, boy? I said, ma'am, I want to run for town council. She said, well, what do you want to do? I said, I don't really know. She said, "Well, you got to get a better answer than that."
Your first consultant.
Right. So so we won in 2005, and we started doing some things and working with the police department to get them a raise, and then we ran for mayor in 2011, and then we really did some cool things. The town hall was being moved to the Bank of Delmarva building. We rebuilt the old town hall, expanded it to the police station where it is now, and paved a lot of streets. And so we were doing some really cool things. No new debt, lowered the tax rate, and so things were going really good. I just kind of found myself out all the time. So after one memory of that Bunky likes to bring up to me, Bunky Luffman.
Yeah, sure.
Is after Hurricane Sandy, I had the flu, and his fever was around 102. I wish it was 103. There was a song in the 80s about saying I got a fever of 103 or whatever, but it wasn't. It was 102. We went out after the storm and we're moving branches out of the streets and picking up debris and putting it clearing the streets, helping Public Works. And at the time, he said, "Man, you are just crazy." But I just feel that's what you're supposed to do, and so I still do that. I'm riding around. I take a different way everywhere I go. I took a different way here today.
Okay.
Just so that way I make sure that on a regular basis I'm hitting every street in our district.
Right.
And still today, if I see just something as simple as somebody's trash can blowing across the street, you pull over, pick it up, put it back, pick up trash when you see it laying around. I mean, it's just, I think that's our job, is to be a servant, and so it's
what people relate to.
Yeah, it's not, that you're up here and everybody's down here. It's that everybody's here and you're down here, and I guess it goes back to the Bible where it said Jesus washed people's feet.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's you lead by serving. You set the example by just doing what you should do, and but it's been a fun journey. The past 4 years have been awesome. Working with this governor, working with our local delegation between Mary Beth Carrozza, who literally is one of the smartest people I've ever met. If there's somebody more prepared,
that's what I hear about her.
They ain't made them yet.
Yeah.
So Senator Mathias has been a help to me in the Senate, getting bills passed, working back and forth. Cherie Sample Hughes, who represents part of Salisbury with me here, she's on the Health and Government Operations Committee, which is one of the biggest committees because it deals with health care. And she's really found her wheelhouse there, and it's great. Chris Adams and Johnny Maltz, they represent the upper part and come down this way, and they're on the Economic Matters Committee, and it's great having their viewpoint because both of them own businesses, different ends of the spectrum, but they still bring input that's kind of dollars and cents, which is good. And you got me, I just kind of play all over the place.
Okay.
So it's been a really good journey, and I'm just really humbled, and I still can't believe I have this opportunity.
What do you like most about being in office?
When somebody calls and you're able to help them.
Yeah.
That's the part. That's the only thing that matters. You can find anybody to go up to Annapolis and vote on bills, but for somebody to set aside themselves for others, I think that's what you want in a representative. I mean, not to be this or that, but I mean, I've foregone a lot of things in my personal life.
Yeah.
I've missed birthdays and I've missed, family gatherings. I was in Annapolis when my grandmother, who was my counselor growing up, she was the one that gave me advice. And but some of the last advice I'll say that she gave was when I went to Annapolis, she said, don't be fake, just be yourself. They'll accept you for who you are. And so that's why what you see is what you get with this. And she said, but don't embarrass me. So unfortunately she saw how I dressed in Annapolis, so that's gone.
That paisley shirt is not part of the thing anymore.
That's right. But so it's just been an incredible opportunity, and I'm just I don't know. I've gone all the way around the corner. This is what happens when you turn me loose.
Okay.
So anyway, what about you, man? So what's going here? Is a Maryland flag going here?
Maryland flag can go there.
No Republic, a Texas flag.
Anything can go there that you want.
You a Cowboys fan?
I am not. I am a
Good
Redskins
man.
fan.
Oh, well.
Okay, hold on.
The
hold
90s
on.
were good.
Hold on.
Oh, okay.
I know that the rule here is that you have to choose either the Redskins or the Ravens. I reject that theory. I like both of them. I was a Colts fan long before I was anything else.
Right on.
Johnny U, Raymond Berry, you know, the whole group.
Sure,
and then the Dark Knight came.
There you were in the abyss.
And they left town, and my heart was broken.
Sure.
My heart was broken. Indianapolis Colts, I think it's a travesty that
I
they
agree.
can even wear
I won't
the
even
uniform.
say the name. Yeah.
You're right, it's not even worth saying. But one of the things that we do like about this show is getting to know the people that are involved with the politics of our time. What is it about this that you really don't like?
Honestly, I don't. Being away from home so much, I guess.
Probably, yeah.
You know, I don't really notice. You know, some people will say it's partisan or whatever. I don't really feel that. I don't get lost in that stuff.
You don't seem to operate on that plane.
I mean, I guess because I'm fortunate coming up, you know, as a council member and a mayor, you know, it was all nonpartisan.
Right. Yeah.
And you know, through the Maryland Municipal League was nonpartisan, and you know, to have been president of that organization and seen how everybody just gets along in the politics of, you know, mass distraction, if you want to call it that don't really apply, you know, because it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat.
Right.
Do you want the trash to pick up on Tuesday or you want to pick up on Wednesday, you know? So I still go with that, you know. I look at the bill and I don't look at who's the sponsor of the bill or whatever. I look, can we afford it or not, you know? And does this make, you know, the people I serve, does this make their life better or worse? If it's a help, I'm for it, you know? If we can afford it, I'm for it. If it makes their life worse, then I'm probably not going to be for it, you know? And, you know, so, you know, we kind of took a little bit of a heat with the offshore wind thing.
Yeah.
I support it. The reason I support it is simply put, it's going to put people to work.
Absolutely. That's what they're talking about, jobs.
The natural gas pipeline, you know, I took a little heat from some of my more liberal friends for that, but you know what? It's going to put people to work.
Yeah.
And we've had a pipeline that's come down through Delaware as long as I can remember, and I don't recall any issues with it. So, you know, this is all private funded. So, you know, let's have solar, let's have wind, let's have natural gas, and let's have people's electric bills come down.
I think you're on top of something that is incredibly important. There has to be an infrastructure to provide employment for the kids that are growing up here so that they don't leave a place they love, and they do it because of money and because of occupation. We've got to get a way to get them to stay.
Brother, you're preaching to me today, man. You are on it. Absolutely right. You know, you have to have a reason for folks to stay here. You know, for too long you've heard about brain drain and these things. You know, and so you know,
it's just so unfair,
right? You know, and but then you have to think of the folks who were like me and maybe didn't want to go to college. You know, I didn't want to go to school when it was free.
Yeah.
So I certainly didn't want to go if I had to pay.
Amen.
So you know, but for those folks, we need to make sure they're viable employment opportunities as well. And so that's where these jobs come in line. And you know, we've come a long way in just 4 years, and I'm excited to see where we go in the next 4. You know, hopefully, you know, with this governor and with many of the same pieces in place, that we can continue rolling this ball. You know, again, people sometimes don't like to hear it, but the Speaker of the House has been good to me.
Right.
You know, anytime I've needed anything, he's taken care of us, and whether it be budget issues or legislative priorities. You know, there are a lot of things that we don't agree on, but I don't let that get in the way. And
well, you know. You raise an interesting point, and today was a good example. I am shocked sometimes in our world today, and some of the people who have expressed, I guess, the most vitriolic of remarks have been friends of mine about an American hero by the name of John McCain, who was passed on. Now, 35 years ago, when I was living in Annapolis, his chief of staff was a guy I went to church with and was very good friends with, and we were buds. And I got to know more about him, John McCain, than maybe just the average Joe. But here he's passed on, and I think it's not only incredibly inappropriate, but it's just mean-spirited for, and I'm gonna lay this on my my brethren to the left, you know, the aortic hemophiliacs, to jump on him at a time when who among us is perfect?
Nobody.
Who among us doesn't have things that they wouldn't do differently, that they would change? But I think if you're looking at a man who carried himself as a gentleman, as a fighter, and as a person of renown. John McCain would be a hard guy to find anybody better than him.
Sure.
And it saddens me that everybody hasn't looked at him and said, there's a great American.
It's on both ends of the spectrum.
I know.
It's on both
and
ends.
there's just as much, on the liberal end.
Right.
And it gives me a case of just nausea. I'm very unhappy with it.
I agree. And but the good news is it's not the majority folks.
I don't think it
It's
is.
the minority folks. The majority folks see him as somebody who just went about his business trying to do what he felt was best for the people he served, regardless of what side of the aisle it was on, and I think that more of that is needed. I think we'd go a lot further, a lot quicker if we just kind of said, okay, all right, he sponsored the bill, so what?
Yeah.
It's good for this, and in Washington, I don't know what's going on there. You'll never see me there. I can say that. I'm not going there. That is not built for me. Well,
what if the people call you to represent them in Washington?
It better be a lot of them.
Send a pizza along with it?
Yeah, better be a lot of them. That's right, better be a lot of them, and it's funny when you speak of calling, I've been watching some of your interviews, and I'm proud of the people running for office this time. You guys are doing good, because 4 years ago, I was the first one to give out my cell phone number.
Okay.
And now everybody's
started
doing
a
it.
trend.
That's right, boy. See? I told you we'd start a trend.
Be like Carl.
No, but no, it's been awesome. People, I get calls all the time, and this is the first thing I grab when I wake up in the morning, and this is the last thing I set down before I fall asleep at night.
Well, I will say this, bar none, you are the most responsive politician I have ever known.
Well,
and I know that from personal experience.
That honestly. That means a tremendous amount to me. Really.
I think it's the most important thing a politician can do.
I agree.
But they don't.
I don't know if I see myself as a politician, but I know that phrase gets put around. I'm not a politician, or I'm not this, or I'm not that. But I don't know what I am. I'm just a guy, like I said. That
I don't think it's a dirty word. If I want somebody to hold elective office, I want a politician. Mm-hmm. I don't want a baker. I don't want a pipe fitter. I want a professional and dignified and effective and reaching politician to be in there protecting my interests and doing the thing. And I don't really care what party he's from, but what I do care about is his ability to understand my problem, talk to me about it, and then go do something about it. Mm-hmm. And Carl, I think you've been just terrific at this. And kudos, man.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
Kudos.
Yeah.
Tell us in 30 seconds or less, what is the Carl story? What is the essence of your philosophy of government?
Which one you want me to talk to?
Right there.
That one?
Yep.
Again, we made our own little hashtag up, making it happen, and it's just getting it done. Whatever it is that is stopping you from enjoying the life that you want. Whether it be a state program, whether it be finding a job, whether it be, your electric bill is on the wrong day of the month. Whatever it is, we're going to find a way to get it done. We're not perfect, but I know, I can speak for Kendall, who works with me, for Bunky, who's worked for me, and that we give it all we've got. We make that our priority. Our priority is you, and that's it. Everything else comes secondary. And I'm just truly blessed and honored to be able to sit here with you and say that. And I laugh. I find myself laughing because it's like I get to help other people, and I just think it's so cool, and it'd be nice to live in a world where nobody needed help.
But that world doesn't exist.
Not yet. But until it does, I'm glad that I'm here to take the call at 443-359-1335.
Also, where can they find you on the internet? Do you have a website? Facebook
yes,
page?
Of course. Yeah, everything's under my name, Carl Anderton Jr. Facebook, it's Carl Anderton Jr. Twitter, it's Carl Anderton Jr. Instagram, it's Carl Anderton Jr. I have a Snapchat. Don't really know what to do with it, except make funny videos I send to my brother.
Right.
Carl Anderton Jr. Website's carlandertonjr.com. So, but other than that, I'm anywhere that you'll need me to be at any time.
And those of you out there in the political world, let me say this about that. Support, volunteer, donate for political races. It is your obligation as an American in this country to be part, to be engaged, and to do the things to help the people that are running for office. And this is an example of the type of guy. Carl,
Thank you.
Thank
brother.
you so much for coming
Absolutely.
by. God bless you, my friend.
Thank you, man.
This has been Billy Earl with Eastern Shore Politics. And as my favorite politician of all time, Mr. Louis Goldstein, used to say, God bless y'all real good.
I'm just looking for a four-leaf clover. I'm just looking for a piece of dirt. I'm just looking for that sweet salvation.